Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the SVT Podcast Show. I am with my guys, Vince and Sam, although Sam is MIA at the time. He'll be here shortly. But Vince, how are you doing today?
I'm doing marvelous, buddy. How's it going?
Good, good. And the man controlling the ones and the twos in the background, Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here.
I kind of wish you had ones and twos.
I know, right?
I kind of did. Yeah, cool.
You know,
that's the thing we're gonna say.
You ask and you shall receive. So next week I might have some ones and twos.
At a babe.
This week on the order, what we got for you is wonderful baseball news. And by wonderful, I mean a highlight news that cannot be missed. NBA schedules are out. Mm-hmm. So, time to put in your Vegas odds now on the Warriors winning. So
we got a couple of other NBA notes as we go along as well.
Yeah.
And a couple of things
on the top of the order here. My guy, not really my guy, but Watson got suspended. We'll go into that more and what it means for the NFL and what it means for the quarterbacks and possibly the 49ers. No.
Maybe.
Hey, Vince, I got a question for you.
Yeah. Okay, shoot.
What does Jim Johnson? Is it Jim Johnson? Jim Johnson? Jim Johnson and Lou Trevino have in common? Oh, and also some guys in the top bleacher row of the A's game previously.
They blew it.
They blew it.
Blew it.
Oh. So let's dive in. This has been kind of the big story basically since Sunday afternoon at the Coliseum, up in the top row of the third deck, up in like section 334. For those of you who don't know, that's like all the way in the deep corner in the top part of the left field, not in Mount Davis, but like right next to it, that like last section. Some lovely exhibitionist couple decided that they couldn't wait to get to the car or to their house. She had to enjoy a human glizzy, I guess is how we're gonna put this.
Okay, for us old people here, can you define what a glizzy is?
Oh, a glizzy is a hot dog, but there was a blowjob that happened up in the top of the. There's a video. Some guy from across the stadium's like zoomed in. It's the top row of 334, and the young lady couldn't looked like she was enjoying herself. It's kind of far away still. I know the guy was. So and basically since then there's been security, like 40 security guards for 30 people in the third deck now at yesterday's game. And so somebody blew up the spot basically.
They literally blew up the spot.
So basically there was mounting on Mount Davis. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not on Mount Davis. I love the alliteration. I love the alliteration.
I mean, who knows, Vince? He could call his thing Mount Davis.
Yeah, I suppose if he's if he thinks higher of himself than what he really is. Come on.
I mean, it was erected. That's what happened. And here we are bringing erection back in for the third time this podcast.
I think this is the fourth time in 5 weeks. So
I'm sorry, I'm a bad influence on you guys. I'm sorry.
I'm the one that sent you the tweet, so I'm kind of a bad influence too. This is true, wild. True. It blew up Twitter, all kinds of memes. A's fans, we are wonderfully creative at being just degenerates. So
are we no longer called the A's? Are we just called the B's?
The Bees. How the hot dog guy, he actually tweeted out the video, like somebody else tweeted it out, and he quote tweeted it and said, "Wieners belong in buns, sir." And then other people are like, "Well, it will be in another hour or so."
Oh my goodness.
So, A's Twitter had a lot of fun with that. So, start off on a little adult brevity, I guess, a little lightheartedness to start our baseball talk before we start talking about how the A's kind of suck still.
Well, since we're here, we'll just stay on the topic here. The A's bring up their top prospect and catcher, Shane Langeliers. Is that how you pronounce this?
Langeliers, yeah.
God, we got to get him a nickname. That's a horrible last name to try and pronounce, especially if you're drinking a couple beers. Langoliers is going to get real slurry.
Right.
Langoliers.
I read the note and I was like, wait, the Stephen King miniseries from the 90s? What the hell? What is going on here?
That's a deep cut, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Nice pull there.
So Shane goes 1 for 4 with a double and 1 run. Look good.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried, in my opinion, that I think that our other catcher is going to probably be traded in the offseason for some top picks now that the young prospect is up. But, we'll wait to see. He's still under team control for 2 more years, which sounds like a total A's trade, to be honest with me.
Yeah. Sean Murphy's days are numbered. And I got to tell you, though, the A's are really, really deep at catcher, like in the prospect system. That's one position where they are loaded because you still got Tyler Soderstrom on his way as well. He's probably just another year out or so.
I would agree.
Point. We got it would not shock me at all if he gets a cup of tea at the big leagues next year. So you got Langoliers, Stephen Vogt.
Stephen Vogt is probably on the docket he's not gonna be on the team next year. No. But they released Elvis Andrus, who then gets claimed by the White Sox. So yay, the A's don't have to pay for him. But then they also released hometown favorite Piscotty here, who's, if people don't know, Piscotty grew up in Pleasanton. His mother, Gretchen, was stricken with ALS and succumbed to ALS, and it became kind of a big rally around him and his family. And Piscotty has I think he actually has what's it called, Vince?
Like a charity, a foundation?
Yeah, like a foundation for ALS. We'll see if we can get the name of it, and we'll throw it in the comments below on our YouTube page and whatnot. You guys can take a look at that as well too. But it's sad to see him go, but he was struggling at most. And to your point, Stephen Vogt is the last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, Stephen Vogt, he's probably going to survive to the end of the year just because there's going to be a veteran somewhere, and he's versatile enough. He can play first base as well as catcher. And I mean, I don't know if they can do it anymore, but the last time he was on the A's, they had him playing right field when he wasn't catching sometimes.
That's true.
That
was like that. Brandon Moss did the same thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Moss
not catching, but first base and left field.
He was the emergency catcher too, as well.
That's true. I think he also pitched some couple games. We were like blown out.
Yeah.
Hey, bringing it back. I did want to point out that the Braves signed Michael Harris to a 10-year deal. The reason why I bring this up is that Michael Harris is 21 years old. He'll be 31 once his contract is up. I think the last 2 years, so he'll be 29. He's up for contracts extensions, or he can be released from the team. But do you think signing a 10-year deal at 21 years old is ridiculous, or go get your money while you still can?
See, the thing is, though, 10 years and 102 million. Is that what the final total is? If he
it's
plays
100, it's 102 mil or 10.2 a year. I call it the Albert Pujols contract because he was kind of the first one to do a 10-year contract with the Angels.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can get 10 years of stability like that, sure. But only getting 10 mil a year, like for a 10-year contract, that feels like I wouldn't do that deal. I think if that was me, I would, if you're looking to pay me $100 million and I'm able to get that kind of a contract, I'd almost demand that it be for a shorter term. Like, is he worth 10 million a year? Probably. Yeah, I think so. But why 10 years at that point? Like what's, I could see buying out the end of arbitration or whatever, but outside of that,
I think he had 4 years of arbitration left.
Yeah. So like he was about to start his arbitration clock, and I mean, and so he gave him 6 extra years on top of that. And I mean, it's secure money. It's $100 million. Good for you, bud. But I think that might have been a mistake. I think you buy out you let the team buy out the arbitration years. plus plus 1 or 2 more. So 6 years, if you're paying him 10 mil a year or whatever, I would expect the Eric Chavez contract, 6 years, 60 something million.
I mean, you could look at it theoretically as like 8 and 80 because he has the option to set on the 9th and 10th year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that deal. I'm sorry.
10 years for only 10 million a year is a little low for baseball, I think. And so, yeah, I would have held out for a little bit longer than that.
I'm not into it. Well, since Sam's not here. Sam's here, but he's not here. Is he here? He's smiling. He's waving. It's great for radio when we can tell you that he's smiling and waving at us.
Yeah. Morning sunshine.
That counts.
Sam, we beg the question. You're 21 years old. You just made it to the bigs. Are you signing a 10-year, $102 million contract at $10 million a year?
Probably not.
Yeah,
I'm probably not. Well, I don't know. It's like how old is he? 18, 19, 21, something?
21. So 31 and then 29 for his opt-out years.
So that's a lot of money. It's more money than he's ever seen in his life right now. It's easy, I guess, for me to say, nah, don't sign the deal because, you know, you get through these, the rookie contract, and then in a few years you'll sign for 200, 300 million. But it's kind of like the Scottie Pippen deal, right? Like,
yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good comp.
You know, where like Jordan said, don't do the deal because ownership ain't going to come back to the table and renegotiate. And Scottie took the deal, and hopefully it works out for this young guy where, you know, we've seen baseball teams. I think baseball's kind of maybe in the NFL too, but baseball's kind of the only franchise that seems like our league that will sign guys to even more money. I know NFL will tear up a contract and kind of redo or add years and more guaranteed money and things like that. It's a big gamble. But I think he saw the 102 million and where do I sign?
Yeah. Once it reached 9 digits, I think that was the breaking point probably. But I mean, if I'm his agent, I maybe try to get that 100 mil in 8 years or 7 years.
That's what I would look to see if I could restructure
instead of 10. You know, that just it feels like that deal is going to be super team friendly if he ends up being exactly what the Braves hope he ends up being. You know, like that's going to be a super team friendly deal, and the Braves are going to be able to pay for a lot of other stars. So, I mean, I get the benefit from the team side, but
if you're an agent, because, you know, I don't know what it's like to be a sports agent or a professional sports athlete. You know? Do you think there's a conversation that in more than one contract negotiation, you know, but in this situation is, hey, take the 10-year, take the 102 million, and 4 or 5 years from now, let's say you're an MVP candidate, whatever, and you ask for a new contract, they don't give it to you, you demand a trade. You know, are we going to start seeing, because the NBA, this is common, you know, now the players pretty much got all the power in the NBA. Is that conversation happening with baseball players and their agents where, hey, take the money right now, you ask for a new deal, you don't get it, you demand for a trade, you know?
But I think the CBA rules are different with baseball as opposed to basketball. Like basketball players, I mean, I guess baseball players, to an extent, basketball players, you could be a singular player like a Kevin Durant and change the whole dynamic of a basketball team, a whole roster. Whereas baseball, yeah, I may be the best left fielder, but if my pitchers suck, it doesn't mean we're going to do anything. You know what I mean? So
stares at Mike Trout.
Yeah, I don't know if that dynamic is going to happen. It certainly seems plausible, but I think the CBAs are different. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone really demanding a trade because they didn't get something done in the middle of a trade in the middle of a contract that they signed for. I think even Albert Pujols worked out his 10 years until the team released him. I don't think that I don't see it happening. Not to say that it can't, But if they end up winning a World Series and he's on a team-friendly contract, I mean, one up to the Braves GM and ownership for that. It's a smart move on their part.
Absolutely.
Speaking of team-friendly contracts and winning championships, the NBA schedules are out, and our Warriors have kind of a favorable first half of a schedule. Let's see. I think the first game is against the Lakers. Am I right? The first game is the Lakers.
That is correct. Opening night against the Lakers.
So ring ceremony night, be good to watch. I'll make sure that I have my beer and popcorn ready to go.
It's wild. The Warriors again are leading the entire NBA in national TV games. So if you're a Warriors fan who doesn't live in the Bay Area, you get to see them 30 times on the schedule. The next closest teams are the Lakers with 27 and the Celtics have 25. So, a lot of marquee franchises, whether they're good or bad, Celtics being good, the Lakers didn't even make the playoffs last year. You're going to get to see your teams. So, the NBA does a really good job of getting the teams on TV as often as they can. Far better than any other sport, I think.
Well, I heard that they did an interview, I think it was Bleacher Report, with Jason Tatum recently in the Celtics. And I guess it's eating at him that he lost to the Warriors, and that he was playing with a broken hand. I feel like that happens all the time. Whenever there's like the losing team or the star player doesn't perform, he secretly has this back problem that nobody knows, or a broken hand, or like a hip problem, or it all comes out. I feel like it's all just malarkey and BS at this point. And I'm over it. Just show up, play, win. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Don't complain.
I mean, it happens every year.
It's so simple.
It happens every year, especially with the NBA. Like the Warriors' first championship, they said, "Oh, if only the Cavaliers were healthy, they got lucky." And then it was, the Cavaliers won that one because the Warriors weren't healthy. The Toronto Raptors won because the Warriors weren't healthy. It's always going to be like that. Who's healthy at the right time? To come out this late after the fact, and it would have been different if the bone actually grew over, but it still hurt, and Giannis tipped the ball and it hurt real bad. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like you're talking about this how many months after the fact? Like whether it's the Warriors or not the Warriors, every championship, it's always going to be who's the healthiest at the right time. And we've seen it with the Spurs, the Spurs are the, the franchise that started this whole load management stuff, when they became like a really veteran team where Tim Duncan and, that squad was getting old and they had Kawhi kind of taking over. They were doing all this load management stuff. And it was all to be healthy during the playoffs, because they knew no matter what seed they were, if they had their complete team on the floor, no matter what seed they were, who they were playing, more than likely they were going to win the series.
And I would argue that, Draymond has ailing back problems. Steph Curry probably was still affected by that the foot sprain, and I think Wiggins had elbow problems. GP2 was playing with, just a fresh recovered arm. Yeah. So everyone had injury problems. I don't like the excuse of months later, you're saying, "Oh, I didn't play good because of this." Nobody is healthy. That's the whole reason why it's a grind. I agree.
Right, yeah. Some guys just don't know how to take their L and move on, and yeah, I mean, it can be humbling, it's not fun, but to lose like that, and it sucks to lose, but also shit, man, toughen up. We'll see you next time. I'm sure the Celtics are, now that they're not trading away pieces to get Kevin Durant, I'm sure that they'll be in the mix again next year.
Oh, don't get me started with that guy. Announcement that he's going back to the Nets. We all knew that. They weren't going to trade for him.
Yeah.
There was nothing viable
What
that
was the
team gonna
announcement?
give
They're
up
going to
for
work
him.
it out. We
Yes.
agreed we're going to work it out.
Yeah, we've agreed that it's gonna.
What's
we're
that
gonna do it
Beatles
this
song?
year.
We can work it out.
Yeah.
Patrick
work it
Beverly
out.
came out and tweeted that, there's guys that are trying to make it in a roster, but aren't being called up because of Kevin Durant's back and forth, because they don't know if he's going to be on the team, if there's an open roster spot or not. And then the Kevin Durant put out #blame Kevin Durant. Absolutely, 100%. We do blame you. You're a piece of shit.
You left the Golden State Warriors because you wanted to be the superstar. You wanted to be the player GM like other superstars. You wanted to assemble your own roster. You wanted to be the man because no matter what you did, you never were going to be loved like Steph Curry. So you left. You went and got all your super friends over here in New Jersey or Brooklyn. And it didn't work.
You got to put $1 in a jar for that, Sam.
They might as well be New Jersey. Who they might as well move back. It ain't working out in Brooklyn.
I mean, to be fair,
didn't they make it to an NBA Finals when they were in New Jersey with Jason Kidd?
Yeah, Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin. I think.
Yeah,
they
were more
successful.
With the stupid lip tattoo on his neck. That's my one thing I can remember of Kenyon Martin is that stupid lip tattoo on his neck.
Oh, Kmart.
My favorite memory of Kmart is when he came out and was criticizing Jeremy Lin for his hair, for his cornrows, and was criticizing that. And then Jeremy Lin said, I get that, but what about all those Asian tattoos you got? Kmart was just like, well played, touche.
I did note that back on the schedule here that there are not going to be any games on election day. So that's pretty sweet. Please go out there and vote because this is it isn't important. It's always important. It's not that one's more than the other, but
the most important election is the next election. So the next election is November 8th. The NBA is not having any games, as you said. That's a first. Like leagues don't do that. But what they are going to do is have all 30 teams play the day before, and every game will have, civic engagement messages of some kind. And we saw during the pandemic in 2020, I think 23 of the NBA arenas ended up acting as polling places because they're large enough. You can spread people out and you can get a lot of people through there. So,
I just need my job to make me free that day too. Right. I would love to have the day off.
I know, right?
It should be a national holiday, man.
It really should.
It should be a national holiday.
Yeah,
where
100%.
We're barbecuing, right or wrong, like it or not. There's no doubt. Right. There's no doubt. Every single person voted. Every vote is counted. Mm-hmm. And you know what?
That's it. On November 8th, I'm taking the day off and I'm barbecuing in my house. And the only way you show up is if you show up with a sticker that says I voted. That's the only way I let you in.
I love it. That sounds great.
It should be a national holiday.
Sign me up. And it's at least here in California and in other states as well. I mean, you get mail-in ballots now. Like they send you a ballot. So it's super easy. And they give you your sticker too. So, you just fill out the ballot. You do your homework beforehand. But once it's time to fill it out, it's 3 minutes, So you do your homework and then just fill in a couple of bubbles and turn it in and put it back in the mail. And it's super secure. It's and I don't understand why we don't have as good of a turnout as we should now. But I think those numbers are going higher.
If you value your time, you'll do a mail-in ballot because I've never, in all the years that I voted, I've never stood in line to vote. It's always been mail-in because
I've only done one.
I've want time to kind of sit and think about what I'm voting on, and not have the pressure of you got to get through because there are 50 people waiting for you to get through. So
I actually. Basically 2020 was the second time I've ever voted by mail. The other time was when I was living in San Diego and I got a mail-in ballot for my home, Alameda County. I was living in San Diego going to school down there for a brief period of time. That ended up not working. That's a whole other story. But but then now that they do these mail-in ballots for, every election, I'm never going back. I mean, I remember being the first in line at my precinct because I couldn't get the day off. So I was the first one there. I showed up at 6:15 knowing the doors open at 7 because I had to get going to work. So, and I'm not the only one. Like, that line was very deep, but I was still the first person there. But yeah, so I mean, make it a national holiday, and it shouldn't be so hard to vote in certain places.
Or if you're gonna work, make everyone be off by noon.
Yeah,
yeah, make it a half day or something.
Yeah, half days only. I think that would be the right way to do this.
And if you run a business, make half people off in the morning, and then they work the evening, and vice versa. That's the way I would do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes too much
Starbucks.
sense.
That's it. Starbucks was my example, but yes, in my head, I was thinking it, but then I was like, do I want to talk about how they're closing down Union stores? I don't want to go there. Anyways,
moving on.
I gotta throw
We're
a
about
random thing here. Is what I do miss as we get older. One thing I do miss is I remember, like, every Sunday, the only thing that would be like open would be like the breakfast spots that you go with your family and maybe a couple stores. Now Sundays, it's just like everything is open. I do miss like holidays where, there wasn't a lot of things open. Everybody had the day off. Now we're in this 24/7, 365 cycle. And I think it's creating a lot of burnout. I also vote to have Sundays take another chill mode down. It should be home with the family, designated day of barbecuing and cooking, bring holiday spirit back. We get a holiday, you should be at home with the family, not shopping.
I'll one up you. I want 3-day weekends, and I would totally okay with doing 4/10s. And I think we're Friday, Saturday, honestly, Sunday.
4/9s.
We're moving towards that.
Some companies are, I think 4/9s is actually the way to go because it's still 36 hours. You're still dedicating a whole chunk of your day. Whoever decided 40 is the magic number. That person's been dead for a long time. So there's no reason not to. If you're gonna go down to 4 days, I mean, I think 4/8s is fine. But if you want to do,
I'm trying to do like
shifts,
3/13s, 3/14s.
Just
screw all that, man.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
1/24.
Eject. Never, ever. Okay.
Well, getting back on pace here.
All right, we got
a guy that never took time off. Pau Gasol is getting his jersey retired on March 7th for the Lakers, and that man was a grindhouse and even until the end of his career when he was having ailing knee problems and hip problems. So, shout out to Pau Gasol. Congratulations. I'm not a big Lakers fan, but I do like to honor those who were great for the game, and Pau Gasol was one of those guys.
Absolutely. You had one other note in here on NBA. Do we want to talk about that real quick?
And Brownie James going to Oregon. He only went there because another 5-star recruit decided to go there. Well, I'm not saying going. This isn't breaking news. I apologize. He's linked to going to Oregon. Is he going to go there? Probably not. I could probably see him going to, I don't know. I mean, you want to go for the TV deals. Maybe he'll go play for a Big Ten school. Who knows?
Well, Nike University. That's
true.
You get some real clean ass uniforms and some shoes, man.
That's true.
I don't see why not. Oregon, they got that Nike money, dude. Like that's nothing to shake a stick at.
Well, he's certainly not going to go to Cleveland or Ohio and go play out there. Speaking of Ohio, someone got their suspension increased. Deshaun Watson has now got an 11-game suspension. He's still got some pending lawsuits. I think one lady has not taken the plea bargain of whatever the fuck money he was offering. So she's still holding him to the fire. Good for her. I think more women should to it if all is true in this situation, which it sounds 100% true, but they should hold him to it.
Yeah, I mean, but on the other hand, I do understand why a lot of women would not want to go through that again, living through that again, and
Sure.
then have their, you know, their whatever, their story questioned to death by some guy, some hack who's out there trying to get a millionaire off, like, you know, a lighter sentence. So I get that.
To Vince's point, it's so easy. It's easy for us in sports, as you know, some knuckleheads during the week talking sports, and here's our 2 cents. We got a podcast. We're important. Monday morning quarterback this shit. What, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo should have did this. Derek Carr should have did that. You know, Curry should have shot it at this many seconds. It's so easy to criticize in retrospect, right? And what are you to try to make it relatable when you have a boss and your boss says, oh, well, what you should have did was, you know, and the feeling that gives you is Monday morning quarterback, like shoulda, coulda, woulda. This is the decision I made. It didn't come out exactly how we wanted it. Now you're correcting it, but it's all in retrospect. You know, we've all had managers in that situation. We all had conversations in that situation where this is how you should have did it. If you did it this way, you wouldn't have had a problem, which maybe not, you know, you don't know. To put a woman in that position, or any victim of sexual violence, to relive that and to put their life and their decision and what they should have did and what they shouldn't have done under a microscope like that is just really unfair. So I totally understand why a person that was in a situation like this takes the money and leaves. You know, why they settle. I get it. You know, they don't want to have their name in public, going through these memories all over again, friends and family and media and people talking about this, what they should have and what they shouldn't have done. You know, because how many times have we heard this before? She shouldn't have dressed like that. Look at these girls walking down the street dressed like that. You know, just because you're dressed a certain way or you're in a certain profession doesn't mean that gives anybody free reign to just do whatever the hell they want sexually. You know, like there are, you know, rules. There is respect. Like,
It's supposed to be,
you know. So
Well, on the note, I also think Watson getting 11 games is not enough.
It's not enough, but also too, he's
It
still
seemed
like
very low.
He's still
Yeah.
assuming he's still out here saying how innocent he is, you know, and you're not, dude. You know, you're not. Like, in your mind, you think you did nothing wrong, but you know, doing what you did, grinding up against people and flashing people and doing all these things that's not okay. That's not, you know, it's not okay for anybody to do.
And now you're seeing like I saw one picture of some fans like holding up signs saying F them hoes or whatever.
It's disgusting.
And hashtag free Watson. Like God, Cleveland, you have some very classy, just top-notch fans. If you can't tell, that's sarcasm.
Right.
Well,
God.
also just the culture of being a celebrity, you know, sports star. It's like, it's not necessarily that. Okay, I'm going to be very careful about what I say. I don't think it's about what any of these ladies were wearing necessarily. It was the mindset that he was in, that he could do anything without being penalized for it.
Yeah.
And that he has the money
he's in a
to
room,
get away with it.
He's in a room that's physical therapy or a massage. And just because there's physical contact and it's a female and you're in a private room, to have the mentality that you can touch them or show them your genitals or, you know, ask them to do a certain act. And yeah, maybe there's women who did it because they didn't know how to respond. They didn't know what to do. That doesn't mean you're charming and, you know, like, you know, I'm sure there's women that he hit on and they went for it and they had fun and it was kosher, you know, but there's clearly boundaries were crossed, and we know boundaries were crossed because there's 30 something people you know, are coming forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 26 confirmed, but there's like more women
I
on the
think
docket.
Yeah, I think it's right around 30. Basically, if this was a baseball team, 4 of them would have to get sent down to the minors. Like that's how many people we're talking.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Just to
Well, that being said, I mean, so looking forward in an NFL perspective, outside of a legal perspective here, with him getting 11-game ban suspension, I mean, that has to open the door for Jimmy G. But it's crazy that it's not, and the fact that it's not being talked about more. Is Jimmy going to be on the roster on August 30th?
Jimmy will not be on the roster on August 30th.
You think he's going to get cut?
I think. Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the landing spots where he could possibly go. You're not going to trade him to Seattle. Cleveland's the only, contender, that so you either work out a deal with Cleveland or Cleveland waits you out. And they wait for you to cut Jimmy, and that way they can sign Jimmy at a much more team friendly contract, and then Jimmy's actually not even probably going to be able to start that first week because it's a whole new offense. He'd have to sit back and learn it.
I'm drawing a blank here, but if Jimmy gets cut, does it go to a waiver order? And the Browns he's free, right? He's open to go anywhere.
Free. Yep. You go anywhere.
I'm sorry, but if Miami comes knocking on the door at the same time Cleveland does, I'm going to Miami.
If I'm Jimmy, I'm going to Miami.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't know if Miami's coming because I think they're really trying to make sure that Tua's the guy, or really make sure that he's not the guy. Either way, if
Miami says, here's 10 million for a 1-year deal, or 18 mil for a 2-year deal, I'm taking it, man, because
but I guess you're assuming that Miami's going to offer that, and I'm not. I don't think Miami's on the table.
I'm looking at Miami's backup.
I think they should be on the table, but they're not. I think Miami is 100% committed to trying to make it work with Tua this year. And if it doesn't work, guess what? You're getting a pretty good pick, because if your quarterback sucks, your team sucks.
Well, the reason why I'm doing it is because, one, I'm trying to set a message to Tua, like, this is it. You got to get your shit together. The second message is Tua's been hurt 2 out of the 3 years he's been there. So do I trust that he's not going to get hurt again this year? No. If I can get a solid quarterback at a discounted price who wants to come here because his only option is here or Cleveland or maybe Seattle, I'm sure Seattle's going to throw it out there. I'm sure they are. I'm sorry, but I'm probably taking Miami over Seattle, and I'm definitely taking Miami over Cleveland.
Miami is loaded as a roster, and they hired what's his name? Mike
McDaniel was the former 49ers offensive coordinator. So it makes sense for him to go there.
But come on, let's be honest. Miami's a loser franchise. They've been a loser franchise for 30 years. And Vince was saying you're either going to make Tua the guy or Tua's not going to be the guy. And if that's the mentality they have, that's such a loser mentality, because you have so much talent in your Super Bowl window. You don't get Super Bowl windows like what the Patriots did. That is rare. You may never, ever see that again with a 20-year window because of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick being on the same franchise for that long. Right. So if I'm Miami, I'm going after Jimmy G, because maybe I want Tua to be the guy, but if he gets hurt, you're wasting your coaching career. You're wasting players' career, because even with a healthy quarterback, I mean, look at the Falcons, man. They got to 1 Super Bowl, and they had a Hall of Fame quarterback. They had the wide receivers. They had a decent defense, and they never got back. Look at Seattle. They got the 1. They should have got the 2nd, and then they never got back. And they had the quarterback. So just because you could argue that they were a Lynch away from a touchdown to winning that Super Bowl. They were. So I'm just saying, just because you have the quarterback, they had Dan Marino. He got to 1 in his 2nd year.
Yep, it was year number 2. They ran into the 49ers buzzsaw.
Never came back.
Yep, I mean the Niners were 15-1 that year, and
I was listening to the radio, and the number one thing, I forget the analyst who said this, was the biggest problem with Miami under the Dan Marino years, and this is for other Hall of Fame quarterbacks too, is these franchises don't build defenses, don't build teams around the quarterback. So then when these teams get to the playoffs, your opposition had 6 months to prepare for that one quarterback. And that's why when you get to the playoffs, these quarterbacks don't look very good, or they look average, because you just had a whole year, you had 6-7 months to prepare for them. And then it kind of makes sense, because Marino never got back. He never even got close. I mean, every playoffs that he got to, you knew Miami was not going to be in it. You knew they weren't going to contend truly.
The modern comp is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he got his one in 2010, but I mean, he hasn't been back to a Super Bowl. He got there once and was able to get the job done. And actually, I think it was Joe Fortenbaugh. Like, he used to be on Bay Area radio, and he used to refer to it at Green Bay as it's like criminal, it's criminal negligence that Green Bay as a franchise had 2 back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Brett Favre and now Aaron Rodgers, and they've only been to 3 Super Bowls, and each guy only got 1 apiece. And and it's because they don't build the team around, like you were saying.
So are you saying Love is the next Hall of Fame quarterback for Green Bay?
No, I'm saying Love is at best the Jeff Garcia to Steve Young and Joe Montana.
I'll take being Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia was pretty good. If Jordan Love ends up being Jeff Garcia, good on him.
The best part about Jeff Garcia is he was on all 3 of our teams.
Yeah, he was.
Including Tampa.
Yep.
He was on the, what was it? The 49ers,
yeah,
the Eagles,
he
the
was
Browns,
a Pro Bowler.
The Raiders,
Tampa
Bay.
I love Jeff Garcia, but yeah, I mean,
the San Jose Spartans, baby.
That's right. Canadian Football League legend.
Garcia was a baller,
He was. But I think that's also what makes like Jim Kelly so impressive too, that he went 4 times and never won. But the fact that he went 4 times in a row? It was in a row,
1990 to 1993. Yeah.
I think that is impressive, because most quarterbacks don't even.
You'll never see that. I don't think we'll ever see that
one
again.
time.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see a team go 4 in a row ever again.
And not win
especially
one.
with the season getting longer.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that again.
Yeah, I agree. Well, gentlemen, I don't know, Vince, if you had any extra points for today.
Okay, so I just have one thing I wanted to bring up, and what we're going to do is I'm going to warn you all, we're going to play a little game next week. Just
my pants stay on.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Pants?
Don't worry about it.
We're supposed to wear pants during these recordings.
The camera only shoots chest up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing basketball shorts at least, guys. Come on. No, so we're gonna have a little fun. It is fantasy football draft season, and so we're gonna have a little draft of our own, and we will announce the topic next week. But I think you guys are gonna really like it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
cliffhanger.
There's your cliffhanger.
I'm like thinking about it already. It's like a Homer Simpson situation in my head. Well, gentlemen, I don't know if you had anything else you want to discuss for the tonight. I'm going to let Sam, you're not doing it. I'm letting Vince do our traditional sign off. If you could, please
slide into our DMs, SVT Sports Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can send us an email at svtsportspod@gmail.com. You can also check us out on YouTube now. We are on the tube, and we are loving life on there, and we're making a bunch of little squiggly lines, and Tim is doing an amazing job with that.
And next week, Tim
really
is bringing
exciting.
1s and 2s.
That's right. Ones and
the 2s.
Yes.
That's right. Out of bed.
And the 0s and 1s for
All right, guys. You guys have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Peace out.
Good night.